So yesterday in the Big 12 was fun. Kansas losing to Cincinnati, I think, just generally is the best thing in the world for both of those teams. BYU beating UCF furthers their opportunity to be a 4 seed in the NCAA tournament, which I already thought was going to happen. And I know a lot of BYU fans thought, no, win the games in front of you. And I get it. That's fine. We have a difference in opinion-ish on that. And we'll get to that game as well. TCU over Oklahoma was a blowout. Wasn't a blowout, and TCU ends up getting it done. I think they have moved themselves off that 8 and 9 line, and the whole idea of TCU winning a game in the Big 12 tournament was to move themselves off the 8-9 line and not play UConn in round of 32. That would not have been very good. And then Kansas State down by 10 at halftime to Texas. Can I tell you, Kansas State is the reason that I drink non-alcoholic things, Dr. Pepper. I watch Kansas State basketball and Jerome Tang. I watch Tyler Perry, and I think there's so much potential here. There's so much potential. And then I just end up frustrated. But in this game, they did the same thing that they do. They frustrated me, but they won. Tyler Perry and company are moving on. He dropped 21 points against Max Abmas and Texas. Now, do I think Oklahoma and Texas both deserve to be in March Madness? Yes. I know that they are going away. They're not going to be in the conference anymore. I still believe, based on what Oklahoma has given you at 8 and 10 in Big 12 play, that gives them a spot at 20 wins. I think 20 wins in the Big 12 gives you a spot in March Madness. For Texas, at 20 wins in the Big 12, 9 and 9 in conference play, those two teams should be locked in. That is 9. We have 9 teams. We know that every team playing today that moved on, like a Texas Tech, Houston, Iowa State, and Baylor, will certainly be in March. We also know that Kansas and BYU will go dancing. I think Oklahoma, TCU, and Texas have made their case, and that's it. They're going to go to the NCAA tournament. But now we have an even better shot to get Cincinnati and Kansas State in. I told you earlier this week that what matters the most to me about the Kansas City and the Big 12 tournament is how Kansas State and Cincinnati perform. I want as many teams as possible in the NCAA tournament. And Cincinnati, they scared me at a point. I'm watching the game. I'm rooting hard for the Bearcats. And mind you, quick caveat, the reason I'm rooting for the Bearcats is not because I want to root against Kansas. I'm wearing a Kansas hoodie today. The reason I'm doing that is because I want Cincinnati in the NCAA tournament, and I want Kansas to go home and rest Adams and McCullough and Dickinson. I need Cincinnati. I need 11 teams in March. I need Kansas to get healthy so they can be as good as they can possibly be in March. And then the freaking Jayhawks go on a 9-0 run early in the second half, and it looks like, oh, shoot, what if all is lost? I think they cut the lead at some point to 3. Cincinnati's struggling, and then finally, the offense catches back into gear, and the Bearcats win it 72-52. There was a defined part of this game where KJ Adams goes down for Kansas. And at that point, I could have told you on FanDuel to live bet the heck out of the Bearcats. And the reason why is, see it on Bill Self's face. He didn't want to be here. He understands, as the best coach in college basketball, that there isn't a whole lot of reason to compete in the Big 12 tournament for his team. If they win the Big 12 tournament, cool. If they don't, also cool. They're going to the NCAA tournament. And if your team needs rest, if your team is banged up the same way Kansas is right now, the number one thing that you can do is just rest. You're already in the tournament. That's what Kansas did. For BYU, geez, man. What a start. I just don't. I watch this team, Ali Khalifa. It's magic. Can you reason with me here? If you're a general Big 12 viewer, do you watch BYU, the team that got up 21-3 against UCF, and think that team scares me? Because yes, the answer is yes. But then I think, is that team a March Madness built team that's going to make a run? I don't know what the pessimistic, cynical part of my brain is in the very back that says, what else do I need to see? They keep doing it. What else do I need to see to say BYU is a legitimate Final Four caliber team? They now have 23 wins on the season in their first year in Big 12 play. I don't think I've done enough content of myself saying BYU is a team that will go to the Final Four or could go to the Final Four. What am I missing? What do I need? I don't know. Maybe they are just a Final Four team. For UCF at 17 and 15, you've bought yourself a ticket to the NIT, and you better accept it. We don't do the whole like, oh, we're not going to do that. Nope, UCF, you need the NIT. Get your guys experience, come back next year, and win. TCU, Oklahoma, same crap here. TCU is up 45-31, and I'm thinking at the very end of the game, like, oh, well, I say the very end. I'm thinking in the middle of the game, oh, if TCU can run away with it. Then I'm thinking at the very end, like, oh, TCU won't run away with it. And it just stresses me out. Can we please all just win our games by as many points as humanly possible from here on out? Because TCU, for a second, didn't want to do that with Manuel Miller and company, who had a really good game, by the way. This was a fun game to watch. I'll give you that. If you were just a general viewer, this was a fun game to watch. But where TCU was running away with it, like 55-40 at one point, or let's say like mid-60s versus mid-40s, like a 65-45. I thought, oh, that we're never going to have to sweat this. TCU is going to win going away. And that was the consensus going up to the last couple minutes. And then I felt like there was a point where TCU just lost momentum. It got within like 6-7 points, and Oklahoma at least made it seem like TCU. Like, here's what I'm trying to say. If you're a TCU fan, you get this. If you've watched Horned Frog basketball in the last 2 weeks, nothing's safe. Nothing's fun. This felt like the game that TCU would find a way to give up in the last 3 minutes, and they didn't. I wish they would have just blown it out. I wish they wouldn't have given me a mini heart attack at the end, but they got it done. Then for Texas, Kansas State, down by 10 at the break, Tyler Perry finally being that guy. What if? 49 points in the second half after only scoring 29 in the first half. Telling you, man, Kansas State, you're my darling. You're my boy, Blue. And coming up, we'll talk about how you can solidify your spot in March Madness. This is Locked On Big 12, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's show is brought to you by Amazon Fire TV. Amazon Fire TV is what I use. It's where I go. It's like, oh, I want to watch YouTube. Amazon Fire TV. Oh, I want to watch Locked On Big 12. Amazon Fire TV. It is super easy. Fire TV is your destination for sports, live games, highlights, in-depth analysis, and more. Fire TV gives you TV episodes, free TV, live TV. Whether it's opening weekend for baseball or the college basketball tournament, you're going to want to have a Fire TV. Fire TV recently created Fire TV channels to deliver a constant supply of the latest videos for your favorite sports brands. Even Locked On. March Madness, NBA, MLB, and lots more. Not to mention great news, entertainment, gaming, travel, cooking videos as well. Check out Fire TV channels on Fire TV and Alexa devices. If you haven't checked out Fire TV channels, you should. Trust me on this one. To learn more, visit Amazon.com/Locked On Fire TV. That is Amazon.com/Locked On Fire TV.